Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's reading is going to be a little bit different than what I've done on this channel previously. If you're new here, my name is Clarissa. I do pick a card readings each week, and I'm going to get into why I was absent last week and even for my last upload on Sunday. Today's date is June 27th. I had to think about that. And I typically post on Sundays, so I would have posted on the 26th. But I also didn't post last week. I'm going to get into it here in a minute. But anyway, today's reading is going to be just like a collective reading, a collective message. It's meant to provide some comfort, some understanding, some guidance during this difficult time. If you also live in the United States, then you know that Roe versus Wade, which I think everybody in the whole world probably knows at this point. So if you're tuning in from another country, you are, I'm sure, is aware as well that Roe versus Wade was overturned on Friday. And I'm not gonna lie, I just did not have the energy, the desire to record after that happened. A lot of the time I'll record on a Friday or a Saturday. It just kind of depends on the week, honestly. I record whenever is most convenient for me. And I was going to record on Friday and Saturday and then post a video on Sunday, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't feel like it was a fitting video for what's going on. And I just didn't feel drawn to do that reading anymore or to post that video, and I was just very angry, and I'm still angry, and I know that a lot of you are angry, you know, whether you be a woman, a person with female anatomy, or even a man that is in support of women having the right to choose, the right to their own bodies, and you know, just understanding that this affects everyone and this is about human rights and not just women's rights. I'm sorry if you hear all that noise in the background. It is Monday in the afternoon and they're like doing trash collection or something right now. I have no idea. So my apologies. I wanted this to be more of like a calm, quiet video. So hopefully we'll get to that momentarily. But anyway, it's a very, very scary time, and I'm not gonna lie, I have TikTok. I've been doom scrolling the last couple of days and just very upset, very angry. Some of you may or may not know, but I am a nurse. I have been a nurse for 5 years. I've actually worked in a labor and delivery setting, and the idea that women, you know, may have to die due to the laws, the trigger laws that went into effect in their states, it really sickens me to my core. The fact that, you know, there are young girls in this country who have less rights than their grandmothers did is just disgusting. And I'm sure that you all feel the same way. If you don't, if you are somebody that doesn't feel that way and disagrees, I really would much rather have you not watch or be a subscriber of this channel, because I don't accept hate in any way, shape, or form. And I understand that we can have a difference in opinion. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but when it affects the livelihood, the humanity of another individual, and it affects their ability to have full autonomy over themselves, and affects their right to live a peaceful life, then honestly, you can go fuck yourself, because I have nothing kind to say. So I'm sorry if that's harsh, but it's the reality of it all. But yeah, if you're here, I really wanted this message to get out to those that need to hear it right now, and that may also still be in the mental state that I am, of just anger and hurt and this feeling of being tired, because it feels like we continually take steps backward, and it feels like no matter what we do, no matter who we elect, no matter how we rally together as people, that nothing gets done. And it's really frustrating. And it's really frustrating that, you know, six Supreme Court justices made this decision, even though, you know, almost 70% of Americans support a woman's right to choose. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to dwell on it a whole lot. You all know what's going on. Just know that you are valid in your feelings of being scared, of, you know, doom scrolling, of, you know, worrying about what is to come in the future, and you are completely valid in that. And I am not somebody that thinks that it's healthy to just have like a toxic positive mindset about it all, because let's be real, there's nothing positive about this. Yeah. Anyway, I did want to touch on last week. I didn't post a video because we were without air conditioning for like 6 days, and it's been pretty hot in Colorado, so I just was not feeling up to filming. I was also angry about that, because, you know, apartment complexes are just lovely, lovely things to deal with. Property management groups are lovely to deal with. So yeah, I was just not feeling like filming, and that's why I didn't week before last. Well, I guess last week. I don't know, whatever. Not this previous Sunday on the 26th, but the week before. That's why I did not post a video. But again, I really wanted to provide some comfort, some guidance, you know, some messages from Spirit. I really channeled my ancestors, you know, the ancestors of all of those that are going through this traumatic experience right now, as well as Spirit, to help provide us with some clarity and, you know, just some comfort in this time. I feel like a lot of us need a comforting message right now. We need something to kind of uplift us, because if you're anything like me, you've just been in kind of a negative headspace for the last couple of days, and you know, like I said, while I think that's important, we clearly can't stay there forever. We have to do something. We can't get to this state of being completely apathetic toward what is going on around us. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the reading for today. I already went ahead and shuffled these cards out, so we'll go ahead and take a look at them, and just see what Spirit, what your ancestors, whatever they have to offer right now. So first here we have the Pilgrim. We have agape or agape. I really don't know for sure how it's supposed to be pronounced in this book. I'll get into that in a second. And then the fault line. So I've actually gotten these two cards before in a reading, so I remember specifically when I looked at agape or agape, that, you know, this is a Greek word that translated to the like English word of agape. So, you know, having your mouth agape and awestruck. But I don't know for sure how it's specifically supposed to be pronounced. So my apologies. Let's go ahead and get into the reading here, regardless of how you want to say this word. So I really get the feeling that your soul, who you are somebody that came here to expand your mind, to grow, to learn, to evolve, and you may have come here to help the planet and help people on this planet do the same. You're somebody that seeks out adventure and seeks out change and seeks out something different than what you currently are experiencing. And I feel like a lot of you that are tuning into this video are highly sensitive people. I feel like maybe even from the age of when you were really young, you could see that this planet, this country, if you were born in the United States, just the way that things were set up to benefit a few and not all. You could see the inequality in the world. You could see the fault line. You could see the cracks in our social structures. And it's something that I feel like you've noticed from a very young age for some of you, and for others, this may be something that you've kind of become attuned to over the last, 5-10 years, that you really recognize, okay, it's not as great as I thought it was, or it's not as great as people made it out to be, especially if you're somebody that grew up here in the States, as somebody else that grew up in the States and went to public school in the United States. The narrative of this being the greatest country in the world is pushed on you from a very young age. There's a lot of propaganda that goes on in the American school system, and what they want you to be taught and what they want you to believe. And I'll be completely honest, I did not fully understand the complexities of everything else that's gone on in the world, as well as like what truly happened in this country, until I was like a junior in high school. And because so much of it is glossed over in our history books, and it continues to be erased from our history books, with like them wanting to stop the teachings of critical race theory and things like that. We really love to sugarcoat our history and pretend like the bad things never happened, even though they did. And it's so very important for us to learn from the bad and to know what happened and learn from the mistakes of the past. Otherwise, like they always say, history is bound to repeat itself if we don't learn from the past and the past mistakes, the past indiscretions. And I feel like you're somebody that when you started to learn about these things, when you really started to learn the truth, it like you woke up. You woke up to the reality of the world. You woke up to the reality of this country, to the reality of the way that things currently are. And it was very overwhelming for you. And I'll be honest, I feel like for a lot of you, there was dissociation that needed to happen, because the idea of how unfair things really are was just so overwhelming to you. And it was like I said, I get the feeling that you're very empathetic. You're a very empathetic person. And it was just very hard for you to truly come to terms with that and truly understand that. And it's still hard for you to see and watch, because you see those things and you watch those things, and they truly like devastate you, and they truly break your heart with the way that things go on in this world that we live in. So yeah, I feel like ultimately you're somebody that sees the issues. You see the problems. You see how this country, how society could crumble. Because at the end of the day, we don't love each other. We don't. We, especially here in the States, are very me oriented. We don't think about other people. We don't think about how what we do has an impact on somebody else. We are very much so focused on ourselves, and that is one of the things that is very hard for me even to deal with, is just the lack of empathy, the lack of sympathy, the lack of understanding of somebody else's situation, and just frankly not caring, not trying to understand where other people are coming from, not caring at all. Because the way that a lot of Americans see things is, well, it doesn't affect me, so it's not my problem. And that in itself is such a problem. And I don't feel like you're like that at all. But I feel like you're very much so in tune to that, and you understand that, and you see that around you, and it's hard for you to deal with. So again, there may have been some form of numbing that was going on, whether that be, substance abuse, whether that be you just kind of turning a blind eye to things, using toxic positivity to, keep your vibration high and, stay overly positive about things. And while I think those things are important for us to keep our vibrations up, at the end of the day, I think it's worse when we ignore and try to, you know, spiritually bypass the issues in the world, because in that sense, we are also being numb and apathetic to it, when what's going on requires a great deal of empathy and a great deal of understanding for other people, okay? It's interesting because for a lot of you, the Pilgrim may also indicate that perhaps you need to leave this current situation. I am not somebody that's going to sit here and tell you that you must fight the good fight, okay? Because it's not going to be safe for all of us to stay here, especially if they continue to take away rights of certain groups of individuals, especially if you're LGBTQIA+, if you are a Black, Indigenous person of color, if you are, you know, anyone that falls within those categories, or, you know, truthfully, I think that they'll take away everyone's rights if you're not a white cis man. And so if that's not you, it may not be safe for you to stay here, and that's okay. I will never tell you to stay in a situation where you don't feel safe and secure, because I think that in order for us to provide the best light of ourselves into the world, we must feel safe and secure in where we are, because that is one of our basic human needs, is safety. And if you don't feel safe, how can you give anything back to the rest of the world? How can you shine your light? How can you, you know, help raise the vibrations of the planet? You can't. That is my belief. If you believe differently, that's perfectly fine. But I just really feel that coming through strongly. And some of you, I think, needed to hear that, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at some of your other oracle cards for today. So we've got Play. We've got Dance with Life. And we've got The Great Gathering. Okay, so it's interesting because both of these cards to me are about playing, about, you know, being in a higher vibrational state of mind. We have play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious, dance with life, do something to change your energy. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. What I'm getting from Spirit with these cards is, do not let this situation break you. Do not let what's going on currently take away from who you are at a soul level. And I do think that a lot of you that are watching this reading are people that came here to help raise the vibration of this planet, to help Earth ascend into our next timeline, our highest reality, our highest whatever. You're here for the greater good. Don't lose sight of who you are. And specifically, do not lose your sympathy, your empathy, your goodness, okay? Don't lose those things. Don't let those things be pushed down so deeply by apathy, because that's the only way that you feel like you can survive. Do not do that, okay? So if you need to take a break from all of this overwhelming news for a while, do that. Take some time to meditate, take some time to ground, take some time to clear your head, take some time to watch something funny and uplifting and positive, okay? But don't let yourself get numb to what's going on. I feel like overall, because what's coming through is that we need to come together and we need to support one another. And if you're able to allow or provide support to somebody else in another state or another, state, in another state that can't access abortion legally anymore, if you're able to provide support, if you're able to help them by even housing them or providing them transportation or whatever to have done what they need to have done, do those things if you can do them. Stand up for your sisters, stand up for other people who have female reproductive organs still, like our trans friends who may have not been able to make that transition yet into, them wanting to transition into male and they still have female anatomy. stand up for those people, and we must come together. We can't let this divide us. We can't let ourselves be so swept up by the anger and the hurt and all of the emotion and pain that we numb ourselves to it, because that is what I'm feeling like some of you do. Some of you, get very angry, get very upset, and then you just completely turn yourself off to it because you just can't deal with it anymore. And we have to stop doing that, okay? We have to deal with it, and we can't let this break us and numb us. So again, if you need to take a step away and travel and have some fun and do something uplifting so that you have the energy to come back and take part in, this coming together, then do so. But at the end of the day, we have to come back and we have to do something, okay? We have to do something, even that if that's from afar, even if it's like you need to get a visa to another country and live there for a while or for the time being, but you're still able to vote because you're an American citizen and you're still able to vote, then vote and cast your vote still and do the things that you can to help and support the people in this that are still in this country, because not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to leave the situation. There are a lot of us who are going to have to stay here because we don't have the means to leave. And if you are one of those people, my heart truly, truly, truly goes out to you. And if you are somebody that is fortunate enough to leave, then do what you can to help others get out as well that want to leave, that want, to seek out a safer place to live. Help them. Okay, do what you can, even if it's just like, here are the resources that I used, this is what I did. Share what you know, share your knowledge, because that's helpful for people as well, okay? But that's really what I'm feeling with these cards. I don't feel like Spirit is saying, oh, just forget about it and have fun. No, absolutely not. I feel like Spirit is saying to not lose yourself in this, to not lose who you are, to not let your light be suppressed, and continue to shine, okay, and do the things that you can to help other people. Let's take a look at your tarot cards here and see what additional messages we have. The Four of Wands, very fitting. Strength, okay, I love that. We have the Sun, and we have the Page of Cups. Very interesting that we got, two major arcana cards, of course, too, but here with the Four of Wands too, again, I feel like this is Spirit reiterating to not let this kill your spirit, okay? Do what you have to do now. Allow yourself to feel the feelings, allow yourself to have fun and go on a vacation, or, disconnect for a while and get out in nature, whatever you need to do to revitalize yourself and come back so that you can hang on to this strength, this inner strength. Because, those of us that are women or have, female reproductive parts or whatever, those of us that have the biological structures of a woman, we are very strong. And, this is also one thing, I did not mean to leave this group of people out, so my apologies. But anyone within our trans community, anyone that identifies as female, even if you don't have female reproductive parts, you are still valid in this conversation. I don't want to leave you out, and I don't mean to leave men out either. So I'm just gonna change my narrative here and say people. We as people are very, very strong and resilient, and we have a lot of power within ourselves. And the thing about being here on earth is they want you to forget about the power that you have. They want you to forget about what you're capable of. We are all capable of manifesting our reality. If enough of us, get together and remain strong, and we shine our light and help raise the vibration of the planet, and we do what we came here to do, even if that's not here in this country, even if it's abroad, even if it's in whatever circumstance, because at the end of the day, you've got to be safe, and you've got to take care of you and your family and your people. And I will never judge you for that, and I will never tell you not to do that, okay? Because I am also a woman of color, and all that's going on in the world terrifies me. But anyway, we have to hold on to this inner strength. We have to hold on to ourselves. We have to hold on to this power that we all have within us, because we all have the power to manifest our own realities and make it so that we end up on the best possible timeline as a collective of human beings. And I think it's very important that we do that, and we don't give up, and we don't allow the apathy to take over. I just want to share this because it's something that has stuck with me ever since I was in high school. And like I said, let me take a drink here real quick. Sorry, guys. Anyway, as I was saying, when I was in high school, and I was a junior in high school, I took an AP World History class, and I grew up in a small town in Kansas, very conservative town, very racist town. The population was like 50%, 40% Hispanic. I'm Hispanic, and there was a lot of racism, a lot of ultra conservative people there. But I had this teacher who was somebody that really impacted me and like changed my life, because it was one of the first times that I really started to learn about the history of this country and the history of the world as well, and what had been done with colonialism and imperialism and all of these things. And I actually took that class, and I loved it so much, and I loved him as a teacher so much that my senior year I took a World Wars I and II class through him as well. And I distinctly remember him telling us about the things that led up to the total execution of Jewish people in Germany during World War II. And their rights were taken away slowly. It's not like they woke up one day and had no rights. Their rights were taken away slowly, and people, would be angry about it for like a little while, and then they just kind of let it pass. And then another thing would come up where more rights were stripped away, and people let it be. They said, they hoped that things would get better, they hoped that things would change, and then people ended up being put in concentration camps and murdered. And I mean, you look at the history of the world too, and what's been done in this country with people of color being targeted from the very beginning. We had, African Americans put into slavery. We had Japanese internment camps. We killed off all of the Native Americans essentially. And the same teacher used to tell us that he never taught elementary school, because if he did, for Christopher Columbus Day, he would have all the kids draw Christopher Columbus on the Santa Maria with a bunch of natives' heads on the side, because that's what actually happened. And one of the worst things that I think that I've seen in recent times is them trying to get rid of critical race theory in schools, because it's so important that we understand what was done to Black, Indigenous people of color in this country. And I mean, I could have a whole history lesson, but I'm not going to go that deep into it because we're in the middle of a reading. But you guys are smart. You're able to look into these things yourself. You have literally the entire world at your disposal with your smartphone. And if you haven't already, I would urge you to look into the actual history of this country, and you'll see how much was left out when you were in, public school, or even if you went to a private school in this country, how much of it is left out of your textbooks. And again, I learned more when I went to college, but I got a little bit off course here. Essentially what I was getting at is I distinctly remember sitting in my history teacher's class and him telling us about the Holocaust and how, rights were taken away from Jewish people slowly over time, and how he told us that the moment that they take away our freedom here, the moment that they take away something like, access to abortion here, that it's time to go. It's time to mobilize, but for a lot of people, it's time to leave. It's time to get out of here, okay? It's time to pack up your bags and go somewhere safer, because a lot of the thing is that a lot of people waited until it was too late. And I want a lot of you to understand and realize now that now is the time to go. If you are somebody like me too that's thought about leaving this country for quite some time, it's time to go, okay? And again, it's not up to you to save the world. Sometimes we have to be able to protect ourselves so that then we can shine our light for the world, that we can help in other ways. And again, you know, if you're able to leave this country and maintain your citizenship, you can still vote here. You're still a U.S. citizen, and you can still vote in elections, okay? So I'm sorry I got off the tangent there, and I had a little bit of a spiel, but I just felt like that was really important to say. I feel like there's some of you that are watching that your best option will be to leave sooner rather than later. So, you know, start making plans, start looking into getting visas in other countries, doing what you have to do to protect yourself, okay? And then finally here with the Page of Cups, I really get this feeling that, you know, again, we have the ability to manifest our own realities. We have the ability to create beautiful things in this world. And I truly believe that we as human beings have the ability to get to the point where we live peacefully and harmoniously together, and we don't take away other people's rights, and we don't push our beliefs and our religion onto other people, and we don't, you know, we don't wish ill upon others, that we can live in this beautiful harmonious space. And I believe that. I want that more than anything for all of us, and for all of us to be seen as human beings and treated as such. And I think that if you're somebody like me that believes that, then to hold on to that, okay? And to know that essentially the thing is that when these historical happenings have occurred and history has repeated itself, if you're into astrology like me, you know that the US is currently in their Pluto return, and historically with Pluto returns with other countries, it has either meant the complete downfall and collapse of that society or a complete upheaval and rebirth of that society. And I'm leaning towards the second one. I'm hoping that this country is able to rebuild and be better than it was before, and to actually, you know, take care of our citizens and people being treated fully equally, and for, you know, people to have access to healthcare, access to safety nets, so that they're able to be taken care of in case anything happens to them, economically, financially, free daycare, maternal, like paid maternal and paternal leave, free education. These things are all possible, and if you're somebody like me that wants to see the world progress to that place, hold on to it and do what you can to try and influence in whatever way possible, okay? Let's look at your final two cards here. I'm sorry, I keep on saying you like this is a particular pile, but this is for everyone. So yeah, you guys, we'll look at you got the final cards that we have for you guys here. So we have Time to Go, and we have Blessed. So again, I think that this is tying into what I was just saying, that for some of us, it's time to pack up our bags and go, okay? It's time to get a plan into place, to have an exit plan in place, to start, you know, applying for visas or seeking out information about immigrating to other countries. Because again, I will never be the one to tell you to stay here if you are fearful and if you do not feel safe. And again, I don't think it's going to be safe for all of us for a lot longer. So if that is the case for you, leave. Do not stay. Do not stay. You don't have to. For a lot of us too, I feel like this card is coming up because it's saying it's time for us to mobilize. It's time for us to take action. It's time for us to come up with a plan. It's time for us to be a well-oiled machine. I'm just going to say this, you know, we talk, I clearly, I think that you can tell by my reading today that I'm a pretty liberal, open-minded person, and we talk a lot about conservatives and their beliefs, but my God, can they mobilize? My God, can they find a way to get things to happen? I mean, this has been on the Republican agenda for like 50 years for them to get this overturned, and they did it. And what did Democrats do? What did they do? Nothing. And, you know, part of that is them, of course, and the fact that they really don't care, because a lot of them don't. A lot of them are in it for the money. But the thing is that there are some people, younger people, that care, that are trying to get elected into Democratic seats, and I think it's our responsibility to campaign for those people, to help get those people into seats of power, and get some of these older people out that clearly do not have an agenda to help the American people. Because that's what's sad is, you know, this should have never happened. We had those representatives up there to represent us and protect our rights, and they didn't. So for a lot of us, it's time to take matters into our own hands, to, you know, boycott, to do whatever you're able to do on your end to make a difference, okay? Because I really don't think that there's going to be some revolutionary that rises up and takes care of it all for us. We're all going to have to play a part, and I think that's why this is coming out, and that's what Spirit wants us to know. With the Blessed card coming out, I think that this is Spirit reaffirming that you know what path is right for you, okay? Whether that be leaving, whether that be staying and fighting, whether that be whatever. And I feel like this is actually coming up because Spirit wants you to know that you are divinely protected in the decisions that you make. If you feel called to leave, if you feel called to go somewhere else, do that, because that may be Spirit's way of protecting you. If you feel called to stand up and fight back, do that, because that may be Spirit's way of calling to you, and they will protect you. Either way, I think that this is also saying that while things are scary right now, while things are tumultuous right now, while things are uncertain right now, that this is unfortunately something that needs to happen. It's unfortunate that it's happening in the way that it is, but if you're somebody like I feel you are from the very beginning, that you've seen the faults in society from a very young age, or for at least the last 5 to 10 years, then you know that this upheaval needs to occur for us to get anywhere, because we haven't gotten anywhere in a long time. Things haven't really changed in a long time, and we need change. And ultimately, as somebody that is a Scorpio with heavy Scorpio placements, Pluto doesn't play the fuck around, okay? Pluto comes in and changes things and mixes things up and makes things challenging for a while. But it's all for the better good. It's all for advancement. And I am hopeful that while things are scary and terrifying and awful right now, that one day, hopefully, you know, in the next couple of years, and not in the next 30 years, but one day, this country will be a safer, more equitable place for everyone, as well as this world, because let's be real, the United States controls a lot. And if we change, then we can implement change throughout the entire world. Okay, so I hope that this provided you with some sort of comfort today. I really wanted a nice, gentle message from Spirit. I don't want to sound too preachy. I hope that I didn't sound too preachy in this video, but I just want you guys to know that I'm here for you. I stand by everyone that this affects, and I stand by those whose rights may be affected in the upcoming months to years. And I am constantly hoping for the best possible outcome. And anyway, I love you. Take care of yourself. Do some meditation. Do some self-care. You know, don't allow yourself to be doom scrolling forever like I was on TikTok or on social media, period. And, you know, allow yourself to feel, but know that at some point we have to do something about it, okay? So I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back to, you know, actual pick a card readings hopefully this Sunday, but I really felt like I needed to get this one out. So love you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.